Good morning, everybody. BDL44 coming at you another video. All right, so what are we talking about? We talking about basketball this morning. I feel pretty good. My Lakers did great last night. We found ourselves winning our second tournament basketball game by a nice large margin. Wore our new jerseys, had our new floor looking colorful, and we broke or met our franchise record with 22 threes. And according to Undisputed, they said that we set the record for the best three-point shooting margin with fewest attempt as 36. I don't know if that's a real stat or if Richard Sherman misspoke. I'm not really sure about that. But hitting 22 threes off of 36 attempts is pretty damn special. We know that. And given the fact that we're literally the second worst three-point shooting team in the league this year, that really helped our situation a lot, not only with our confidence, but with our percentage in being the worst team shooting the ball, or second worst behind Charlotte. So, yeah, I feel great about my Lakers. I like the new colors. I love the new floor. Hopefully we can I want to keep the floor. I know they're not going to use it for more than just the tournament, but I kind of like the floor, man. I want to see it beyond the tournament. We're only going to have it down there for a couple more times, of course, for the duration of the tournament, how long we stick around. Hopefully we win the whole thing. But yeah, our next tournament game won't have the floor. We're gonna be in Portland, and then the next game after that that's scheduled is against Utah, where we'll have that floor again. After that, it's up in the air. It depends on how we do in the tournament. So I want to see it. We're keeping the jerseys for sure. That's not exclusive for the tournament, but yeah, that floor is. So yeah, man. What was I going to say? I think that, moving on from the Lakers, there's something that needs to be said about the Clippers. I think they're one of the worst teams in the league right now. And certain things you put in your food can make it taste worse, man. At the end of the day, you put the wrong ingredients in, and you will make your food taste bad. And that is what I think the Los Angeles Clippers have done, man. They made their food taste bad. He had something good going on with Russell. Obviously, Kawhi and Paul George, you feel really good about that tandem. He had Bones Highland getting his minutes. He had other guys doing well. Russell Westbrook setting a certain pace, keeping everything going. And you put James Harden in a situation, now you have something that doesn't taste as good in that mix. Now you got a guy who's not playing as much defense, who isn't the same person he used to be as far as athleticism and things of that nature. He's not able to move in a way that allows for him to more or less do the same things that they need him to do, and what they're asking him to do is be his old self and kind of run the offense himself. How does that leave Russell Westbrook in a position to keep that pace that they ultimately benefit from? How does that work for Kawhi's touches? How does that work for some of the plays that they run? What's that doing for Bones Highland's minutes now that he's having somewhat of a breakout season? These are things that they cannot answer because there is no answer for these things. James Harden takes away from those things, and he inserts his weaknesses into the equation. So it's like, when you add the wrong ingredient, you can mess up the food, man. You're going to mess up the taste of what you're eating. It's fine. It tastes great. Don't put nothing else in there. And so that's the problem. Clippers put the wrong ingredient in the mix of what they're doing in their food, and now it tastes terrible. They're a bad team. And all they got to do is extract James Harden from the circumstance, and they'll probably be okay. The only problem is I think they also miss the defense of a guy like Robert Covington. They also miss the versatility of a guy like Nicholas Batum. So these are the type of things they let go of the Morris twin. So it's like, how do they fare now that they're down some of those defenders and some of those shooters? How do they fare without some of that depth? And I don't think they have an answer for that, even if they do remove James Harden from the circumstance. So it's a little tricky now that you're looking at the LA Clippers and you see these problems, and there's a solution to it. But the problem is they can't necessarily trade James Harden for those same pieces that they lost. They would have done best just not to move those pieces. You know what happens to Terrence Mann now? Terrence Mann, from what I understand, played 30-plus minutes and didn't score yesterday. Like, what are they doing to his piece? Bones Highland's been removed from the rotation in a breakout year. Ty Lue is just going to have to put his foot down and say, look, certain things just don't work, bro. And I know we want to cater to your ego, but how bad is your ego going to hurt when everybody's blaming you for us losing? Come off the bench. Let's reset these rotations, and let's do the best we can. And if you don't like the role that you're in coming off the bench, let's trade you again. You know what I mean? Let's do what we got to do. But as long as you're playing bad, we're not getting the most out of you. And because of it, we're not going to be very good. So that's what Ty Lue's going to have to do, or they're going to find somebody who can. And that's exactly what's going to happen there. I got a feeling Ty Lue's probably going to be relieved of his duties if they keep losing like this. They lost their 6th straight game yesterday, tournament game against the Nuggets, for which most people thought they should have won. The Nuggets are a team that a lot of people think can win the NBA championship. But the fact that they're down Jamal Murray exposes that their bench isn't quite as strong as it should be, which is why they've kind of been exposed as a team that's not overly great right now. When you consider the fact that you had a big lead against that team, when Russell Westbrook was on the floor, they were doing good things. They pulled him off the floor down the stretch of the basketball game and didn't keep their lead from there. I mean, and that signifies your 6th straight loss when you got 4 Hall of Famers in your starting lineup. And the argument a lot of times, we got Hall of Famers. The Lakers just say we had Hall of Famers. We had Steve Nash past his prime. Sometimes we have a guy like Dwight Howard later on past his prime. It's like, no, these are guys who proven 3 weeks ago that they can play well. These are guys who are having good seasons. Paul George's having a fantastic season. Kawhi Leonard was doing damage. Russell Westbrook's playing some of the best game of ball he's played in 3 years. And then you insert James Harden into the equation, and all of a sudden everybody regresses. The whole team is not playing well, and now you got a whole situation where the LA Clippers have put themselves in a position to be one of the worst teams instead of one of the better teams as they started the season being. They ain't looked right since they played my Lakers. When you put the wrong ingredient in the food, you're going to mess up the taste, and that is exactly what they've done there. So as a Laker fan, I love it, but as somebody who's following the NBA, I know what went wrong there, and I know how to fix it, or at least how to stop the bleeding. You got to put James in that second unit, man. So moving on from that, there's a guy by the name of Ausar Thompson, one of the Thompson twins, and I'm telling you, this dude is amazing. He's already showing us that he's one of the better small forwards defensively in the game. When I've tried to measure up his numbers or his production, whether in fantasy basketball with Franz Wagner, trying to figure out which one I want to keep, they're basically putting up the same stuff. Franz Wagner is one of the best small forwards in the game on both sides of the floor. And the numbers and production is pretty much aligned. I didn't drop Franz, but if Franz gets hurt and Ausar's still on that waiver wire, I got to pick him up. But the way it's set up in my league, I got so many forwards that I have to drop somebody that's basically elite. That was the draft. I just got too many elite forwards. So I had to choose between Franz and Ausar, and I stuck with what I had. But that doesn't mean Ausar wasn't worthy of picking up in that situation just the same. He's balling. He's really, really balling. And he's not doing it scoring the ball too much. He's doing it in every other area. Assisting the rock, defending, using his athleticism to get various different plays off. He's rebounding the ball at an extremely high level with that same athleticism. I mean, this dude is just affecting the floor in ways that you could clearly see is elite in his rookie season, the first 3 weeks of his rookie season, and he's already matching up numbers-wise with some of the better small forwards in basketball. People are going to have to understand that Ausar Thompson may even be as good as Kawhi one day if his shot comes around. Not to say they affect the game the same way, but this dude is a very elite defender who has offensive gifts, passing the rock, point guard type skills. I mean, he's turning into one of my favorite small forwards out there. Although I think they actually run him in shooting guard. But it don't matter, man. He's taking over the Pistons. The problem with the Pistons for me is that they have all kinds of good players, like really good players, but I think they're tanking on purpose, man. I genuinely believe that. And not only that, but they got a guard rotation issue. Marcus Sasser is also a fantastic rookie. He only had like 1.1 assists yesterday, or 1.1 rebound or something like that. That should never be the case when you got a guy that talented. But the problem is they had to bring back yet another talented guard by the name of Jaden Ivey. And of course, he's fantastic as well, but not necessarily in that rotation with him, Sasser, and then they got other guys they want to use as well. Of course, you got Cunningham, who's also a guard. You got Ausar, who's usually a two guard, even though I call him a small forward. He could be a two guard. So they just got a weird rotation of guards. None of them have established themselves yet. All of them need those opportunities. And so I would love for the Pistons to just make a move to kind of condense their guard rotation so that those talented dudes can have their roles properly aligned for who it is that they're supposed to be. because when you look at Sasser and what he's capable of when Ivy was out, he was putting up star numbers. He shouldn't be playing behind nobody at this point in time. He got guys in the league that he's better than, I think, already. And the same thing with Jaden Ivey. It's like these are good players, but what you're going to end up doing is decreasing their value in these bad roles, having them trying to play for, outduel one another with limited minutes. It just doesn't work. So that's one thing that I think needs to happen. Another situation I'm looking at is the Pacers, man. I genuinely believe that we're entering a space where Tyrese Halliburton might genuinely be the second best point guard in the game behind Steph Curry. When you talk about why the Sacramento Kings chose to trade him instead of guys like De'Aaron Fox, it had to do with his rookie contract. It wasn't necessarily because they thought he was any better or worse than De'Aaron. It didn't have probably much to do with that. Davion Mitchell wasn't the caliber of player that the Pacers would want to trade Sabonis for, and they did have a guard rotation issue in Sacramento. But what I can tell you is trading Tyrese Halliburton was a mistake that day. I reacted to it like it was a mistake, and now that we see what he's turning into, it was far greater of a mistake than I thought. This could be your MVP this year if he keeps this up. He's averaging crazy assist numbers, crazy scoring numbers. He shoots fantastic from behind the arc. His team is winning. And on top of that, he also was a fantastic defender naturally. He always was. So this is somebody who I genuinely think is a savant at basketball and has flown up the ranks of top point guards in the game. And like I said, I think it's only one person that I can genuinely say I'm certain is better than him, and that's Steph freaking Curry at that point guard position. Nobody else, I'm certain, is better than him. In fact, I'm pretty damn certain they're not at this point, the way he's playing. So you got to keep an eye on them Pacers, man. As long as he's playing the way that he's playing and doing the things that he's doing, they are at risk to win any game they're in. And that includes well through the playoffs. So I think the Pacers are serious. I don't know if they would like to make a move to get better. I'm a firm believer that they should move Buddy Hield to create more of an opportunity for some of the other guards that they picked up in the draft. Guys like, over the last couple of years, guys like Nembhard, Naismith, two dudes that got in the draft this year that I can't think of their names, but they're also excellent guards. They got a similar situation just like the Pistons. It's just too many guards in rotation for what it is that you ultimately have roles for them guys to play. So for what you expect them to do or whatever. So that's my take on the Pacers. I think that when it really comes down to it, Tyrese Halliburton just might very well be the second best point guard in the NBA today. I think he is. I really do. I think he is. As I think about it, I think he is. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. You got guys like Dame Lillard who rival that, a few other names too, but he's just playing better than dudes, man. He just is. And if you've owned him on your fantasy team, you love the fact that he's doing so. What else? It's starting to rain right now. First time I've seen rain on this side of town. But nevertheless, I'm very, very excited about what I'm seeing in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama is as good as advertised, but they do need to kind of take the training wheels off of him. I think you look at a guy like Popovich, he knows what he's doing. He probably doesn't want that kid to get the big head, having him average 30 and 40 points a game, stuff like that. And he's a true rookie, but we know his ceiling is so dang high that if you run every play for him, he might be able to score as well as his shot will allow him to fall. Basically, there's no defending a guy whose jump shot goes that high. So if you opt to go away from his jump shot, it's a choice. It's not necessarily a necessity. He's going to shoot over anybody at all times. If you want to just spam him all game long, he can average 40 points a game. That's the God's honest truth. So I really believe that about Wembanyama. You got a lot of guys that are considering a guy by the name of what's his name over in OKC, Chet Holmgren as well. Chet Holmgren's having a fantastic rookie season. He's doing things that you want to see, just like Wembanyama, 7'3", very tall length guard abilities, rather. And I think that when you have those two guys coming into the league, they could dominate the league going forward as they develop fully. I mean, the championship could go through those two teams, especially when you consider OKC has another elite player on their team by the name of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who also looks like an MVP candidate, maybe one of those guys that could be rivaling Tyrese Halliburton as the best point guard behind Steph Curry. But I don't really look at Shai as a point guard. I know he plays the role, but they got Giddey down there. They got J-Dub down there. they all kind of play quasi point guard roles. So I think Shea is more so a shooting guard to me, and Giddey's more so the point guard in my opinion. But you know, that's what I'm seeing down there. It's a lot of good down there with this rookie team. This rookie class is looking great. Some of the guys that you're expecting to emerge will step up going forward. I'm looking forward to the return of Amen Thompson, even though he has more guys that are playing in front of him and behind him than his brother does in Detroit. And he's dealing with an injury he's coming back from. So his first couple of weeks, he didn't look that great, his first couple of games rather, but it's widely understood that he is the better player between him and his brother. So it's going to be interesting to see if he has a better career, given the fact that he's in this circumstance. As his brother is balling, as a Rookie of the Year candidate, and he hasn't really looked very good to start his career with the Rockets. So we'll see them come around. I think both of them will ultimately be ridiculously great in the future, but for now, you just got to wait it out, and hopefully they can develop properly. So yeah, headed to where I'm going. Of course, I'll have something for you at the end of this opportunity here. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching.